Hello, my name is Sara Krim, and this is the first episode to my new podcast called Faith with Sara. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about why I'm creating this podcast, why I'm doing this podcast, and what's going to be discussed during the podcast. And then I'm also going to get into a little bit about my background since it connects heavily with why I'm doing this podcast, obviously. So we're just going to start with that. Like I said, my name is Sara Krim. I am Muslim, and I was born and raised Muslim, and I was also born and raised in the United States of America. So those two already, it's kind of that's difficult because being Muslim isn't the main religion obviously here, which is a big difference from Algeria, where my parents were born, where my family is from, where all of my family is. And that in itself, there's a cultural disconnect too, me growing up in the US and all my family being back home. So that also connects to this whole thing. But basically, I grew up here, and I grew up going to Sunday school and to the masjid, and masjid is mosque for people who don't know. And I grew up, with a large emphasis on being Muslim, and faith has always been a really big thing, and faith has always been a really big thing, and it's also been something that I've struggled with. My imaan goes up and down all the time, and that is a problem. And as I've grown, I've realized that I don't fully understand my faith, and that's a problem. And even though I've been pushed to learn my faith, I never have been able to in the correct way. So, I would go to Sunday school, but I was a kid, and I'm pretty sure I have ADHD. A lot of people say I have ADHD, and right now as I'm growing up, I'm starting to realize I might have a little bit. But yeah, I was a kid, and I was just a basic kid who didn't really like school, and being forced to go to everyday school, elementary school, and then also being forced to doing an extra day of school on Sunday, and I was learning all these things. I feel like I may have been exhausted, and I was just a kid. All I wanted to do was play. I didn't really want to learn, and that affected me, I guess, because I just couldn't focus ever. So I know now the basics because I went to Sunday school, so I'm very grateful I got pushed to that. But I also feel like that in itself kind of made me not want to learn, and it made me think oh, I've been going to Sunday school my whole life, so I don't really have to do more, if that makes sense. So I've struggled with praying a lot, and I've had good points in my life where I've really been focused on my iman, and from that Sunday school I have some of the basic surahs memorized, and I know how to read the Quran. I know my pronunciation might not be the best, but I do know how to read, and I know how to write, and I know the basics of Islamic stories and Islamic studies, but I don't really remember a lot. I don't really know a lot. So, yeah. So that leads me to today. Because I didn't learn too much, I don't understand my faith, and that's a problem, because if you don't understand your faith, how can you believe in it? And I realized that because I was thinking about wanting to wear the hijab, and I actually have worn the hijab in the past, but I took it off. Astaghfirullah, because I was a stupid teenager, and I just wanted to feel normal in the United States. And that's what I mean whenever I say growing up Muslim in the United States is really hard. And we can honestly get into that with more depth later, maybe this episode, but maybe another, so I don't wear the hijab now, and I wanted to wear the hijab because I just entered a new chapter of my life. But then I realized, how can I fully commit to this if I don't fully understand my religion? And I feel that so much. So people will try to ask me questions on Islam, and most times I can answer because they're basic questions, but other times I'm I don't know, and that I don't like that. I want to know what my faith is, since I want to be proud, and I want to be able to say, okay, well, this is what it says. This is how I see it. This is how sheikhs see it, etc., etc. So I want to know my religion and my faith, and I want to know my book, and I want to be able to be prideful in that. And another thing is, I want to, sometimes people will take a really extreme overlook on something in the Quran, sexism, for example, is a really big thing, and I end up feeling disgusted, and I end up feeling, wait, but so is this really what my religion believes in? Is this what it says? Is this what it does? And that, I hate that feeling. It just makes me feel disgusting inside. And so I want to be able to know the Quran. I want to know what I believe in. So that's the whole point of this podcast. Because I want to learn more about my faith and analyze my faith and understand my faith. And I wanted to do it as a podcast because, one, it will get me to actually learn, and two, it can help me build a community. And sometimes you need a community in these things to actually, I don't know, having a community is always a good thing. And that's my goal with this podcast. So my goals are, I want to learn and understand my faith, and I want to build a community of people that want the same thing. So that's why I'm doing this podcast. And then let's get into what will be discussed in this podcast. So during episodes, what I want to do is kind of go step by step and actually read the Quran. And so I have the Clear Quran in English, and it's a thematic. It's an English translation by Dr. Mustafa Khattab. Hopefully I'm saying that right. It's the Al Furqan Foundation. So it's that black book that you may have seen with the gold on it. With the gold, Islamic art on it. So yeah, my dad has a bunch of them at home, so I have tried reading it, but I've come to realize that life kind of moves really fast, especially in America, especially right now in my youth, I'd say. And I just don't have time to actually sit down and read it. So now I'm forcing myself to make a time for this podcast so that I can actually understand it. So yeah, we need to finish discussing what's going to be discussed during episodes, which I think is pretty self-explanatory. We're going to talk about verses in the Quran in English. And I also have another book, which is, it's this really cool book that my dad got me, and it's a Quran, but it has the translation on the sides. It has the Arabic text is big. It's big, and it has the tajweed, it has all those colors, and on the sides it has the it has the translations, and it also has like explanations. So that one's really cool. I didn't bring that one today, but I'm going to be using that one as well during this. So that's the plan, and we'll also talk about like stories, like the stories of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're gonna talk about like things that sheikhs say, hadiths. I want to get into all those things, and right now, as of currently, I want to focus on Islam, on the Quran, which will probably take a long time, but maybe in the future, I will also dive into other books. So maybe we'll look at the Bible, maybe we'll look at the Torah, maybe we'll look at all those things, but right now I do want to focus on Islam. That's kind of why I did faith with Sara, because this is really just about faith. And we may look in, like I said, in the future, I'm open to looking at other faiths. But right now, we're gonna focus on Islam. So, yeah. So, my next episode is going to be with... We're gonna get into what the Quran is and just the ultimate basics, because in order to fully understand this, I think we need to go back to the beginning and like actually try to understand from the starting point. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for tuning into this episode. Make sure to tune in to the next episode where we'll be talking about the absolute basics of the Quran, what it is, and everything about that. Okay, that's all. Goodbye.